Marshall's visiting me from Orlando, Florida. He's a Yondan, and I'm with the Nisho Ryu. And we've been working, he's come over here for a week to work on Nisho Ryu, Waza, and EI. So we'll talk a little bit about EI. Anyway.
As you said, I'm Marshall from Orlando. Come here to learn.
Talk a little louder.
I come here to learn some Iaido, the Nishio Iai. And one of my first questions is, what got you interested in using the sword and doing sword work?
Well, that day was a very strange day when I was at Hombo, and after class, this really ugly giant of a man came in, no English, and told me that's all he knew. And he took me across town to meet Nisho Sensei. And from then on, I was a Nisho student. So this was 1970, just maybe late 74, 75. So, and they did EI. So I had no clue what was going on, but they had an extra sword for me to borrow, and then later I brought a kind of a play sword that I got from a friend of mine that's, it's just basically junk, but everybody else was using real swords or Iaito.
So on your path, who were your inspirations and instructors?
You gotta talk loud. So,
Okay.
inspiration, well, I had no idea I was gonna do sword work, and so I just, was in the back and Nisho was in the front, and I just kinda, monkey see, monkey do. And I tried to follow along as best I could. And a lot of it was on the knees, and so it was really tough being on tatami on the knees for an hour and a half or so. But yeah. So that I didn't even know the name of it until later, or I didn't know the names of any techniques or anything. I couldn't hear him. He was quite far away from me. There was about 30 or 40 in the class. So.
And so every year, I guess in January, you always had obviously Sensei come teach class. So
Well, yeah, we years later, many years later, I moved to Bangkok and opened a dojo here. So, he basically just showed up one year. I didn't know he was coming, and we had an instant seminar. And I met him by the elevator. I'd never seen him before, and he was the one that took over after Nisho Sensei's passing. But when I was opening my dojo and Nisho Sensei was in the hospital, one of my old friends, who was a sixth dan, went and asked him if he remembered me and was it okay to open a dojo. So he said yeah. So when this guy came, Aruse Sensei, who was a seventh dan, he immediately started teaching us EI. So we had one class that was a couple hours of EI, and that it was the 15 kata of the Toho EI. And each year it would be a different grouping of that 15. Maybe he'd start at number 1, and next year he'd start at number 10 and go backwards or whatever. But we slowly learned how to do the 15 EI, which are 4 different sword styles, but it's called Toho EI.
yeah, one of the difficulties that I've noticed is angles, footwork, and the movement of the hands, and drawing and placing the sword. Any kind of tips, practice that we can that would help a new student?
Like how to do it, or what do I recommend? Or?
Yeah, I'm still consider myself a beginner. The angles.
Well,
how did you?
Well, again, it's as anybody will tell you, it's repetition. So you need a lot of repetition. I mean, the first couple of years, he must have been laughing at us because we didn't have a clue, and he was running around like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to keep us informed. But yeah, it's quite a lot of angles, and of course your footwork is first, then your torso, your hips, you know, and then how you move the sword and which angles, and then how you move the feet and the hands together, and it's difficult. And making the sword move faster and more powerfully is quite hard to do, because you blow your angles and everything. Everybody's trying to make the sword sing, you know, but it's wrong. But eventually, as we know, there are teachers that barely move it and you can hear it. So again, it just takes a lot of time. I think you're looking for perfection in EI, so you're not looking for that in Aikido. So that's really hard. So I recommend a lot with the Boken, as much as possible, until they feel comfortable, and then let them use an EI later, Yaito. But yeah, it's just patience. Don't be too critical of yourself, and good luck. Yeah. Okay?
Okay. Yes, Sensei.
Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you for your
Okay.
time.